Hey, Bruntz, on a serious note, though, like I hear about how bad Purdue is, right? I've heard that a lot, and how it's ideal that Nebraska is going on the road. Are you putting up one of those caution signs on the old interstate on the way to West Lafayette for these narratives?
It's a little bit of a scary game to me, and not because Purdue's the '85 Bears. I don't think that's where you're trying to go with it.
No, but Ravi has a name for you that I would like for him to text you later on, that he called the fan base heading into this week. I'm not sure it's safe for radio.
It's not. I'm not calling you a name, Bruntz. It's for name.
But that's how Bruntz is acting, though, right?
No, I mean, can both things be true at the same time? That Purdue's a bad football team and Nebraska still needs to be careful.
Yes.
Because Purdue's a bad football team. Like let's not try and talk ourselves out of this. This is a bad football team. Okay. Now we've seen Nebraska lose to a lot of bad football teams in the last years, and that is the cause for consternation, is the professional word to use, not what I termed it earlier. So
it wasn't good.
I thought it was pretty funny. I understand.
I'm texting it to you right now.
So, the last name of the kicker for Baltimore?
Yeah.
And the first name
of Mr. Sherman. Don't you ever talk about me.
Of Vital, the commentator for basketball.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So there may be some of that practice going on with the Purdue game. That's all.
God, I get it. I don't need the text. I see where you're going.
Too late. It's sent. Although, even in text, I don't use the word.
Wow.
Which is the weirdest thing.
Old rich, huh? So, no, I mean, I listen, I'm a veteran of these types of Nebraska-Purdue games that Nebraska lost. And I understand that, that rules tab does not contain games that were lost early in the Mike Riley era. It's a possibility, though. And I think Nebraska, I think this game is more – it feels a lot more like a mental game for Nebraska and whether they can bounce back, because I don't get the sense that there's the big hand wringing over there about whether or not Illinois losing to a ranked team was a trend or the start of a bad trend. I mean, I think they feel like it was a blip and there's things they can fix and they can move on from. That said, it seems like if Purdue is going to have some success in this game, it's going to be the kinds of things that Nebraska is trying to fix. And I'm thinking the tackling on defense. Mockabee, for whatever he is
he's a good player.
He's a good running back, and I don't know that he necessarily gets the due that he probably deserves. I mean, he's averaging a fair number of yards per carry, over 5 a carry, and this is also a defense for Purdue that's very, 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 very boom or bust. More bust, very busty over there in West Lafayette in the last few weeks. But I do think that they have the ability to, make life difficult if you're not dialed in. So I'm not making them the '85 Bears. I'm just saying,
No, you know that they've lost 4 out of the last 6 to Purdue, right? I mean, that's kind of.
I'm aware.
Yeah,
I'm aware. And I mean, Nebraska's not going to West Lafayette to play like University of the Pacific. Like you got some guys over there.
Hey.
R.I.P. to the great University Pacific program.
Yeah, you guys ended them. I mean, that's something.
So,
how do you feel about ending a football program, TV?
Go Azusa. So say Bruntz, for people they talk about the tackling and this, that, and the other, and I'm just thinking to myself, I was listening to Jenkins, one of the linebackers from Purdue, in his press conference, and they've been bad and they haven't created a turnover, and he's basically saying, hey, let's solve problems with aggression. Let's do your 1 of 11. Just do your job. How much of it do you think what you see with Nebraska in terms of open field tackling has more to do with team defense than individual guys in space.
Yeah, well, it anecdotally feels like there's fewer guys around the ball than there was last year. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that was the thing that was, last season when the defense really kind of started humming along, it was like, oh, wow, you got 3 or 4 guys there on every play ready to tackle and rip at the ball and make sure the play stops and is done. And it feels like there's less of that this year. I don't know if that's, scheme, effort. I don't think it's effort, but I mean, it feels like there's still a group that's kind of trying to find its footing. And I guess that's a concern because it is such a veteran group. But yeah, I thought Matt Rule diagnosed it pretty well though on Monday when he said, at some point, guys just have to make plays, like guys have to make tackles. And that's why John Bullock has flashed the way that he has this year, because he's generally around the ball. He's generally the guy making a play, and you just need more of that. So, I mean, I'm fascinated to see what the travel roster is going to look like for this one, because, I mean, when Matt Rule says they're looking at getting young guys in the game, I mean, given their history of doing that, I don't think that that's just lip service, like I legitimately believe they're looking really hard at Vincent Shavers or somebody else that can kind of come in and play with their hair on fire a little bit.
Bruntz, in your mind, when you hear him talking about getting young guys involved, what's the benefit of maybe switching out some of those younger guys versus the veterans? Is it just, hey,
I think it's more on special teams.
We'd rather see fast mistakes than slow decisions, or is it more of a special teams thing? Like, how do you view that?
Well, I mean, the special teams, I mean, they've got to push some buttons there, I think.
Yeah.
And, I think it feels more personnel and kind of like very, very big picture approach type decisions to me. The thing I wonder, just, speaking defensively, I do wonder if you can get, like, let's say you can get 10 to 15 snaps off of Ty Robinson's plate. Like, what does that picture look like? Because it felt like last year it was a little bit, the rotation was a bit more robust. And I don't know if, they just have not gotten enough from that second and third wave of defensive linemen, especially in the middle to this point in the season, as maybe they would like. And so, yeah, I mean, when I hear him say, they want to get young guys in, I mean, that's kind of that next group of guys. It's like, who can come in and give us 10 good snaps? Who can give us, maybe 15? That's kind of what I hear when that happens. I mean, I think Damon's point about special teams is important too, because, if you're going to continue to try to make teams return kicks on you, you need to find some guys that can get down there and cover and not make it into such a fire drill like it seems at times. So all of that, I mean, I think this is kind of an opportunity to maybe look at some guys, because you have to make decisions about who's coming and who's not.
Bruntz, what was the tenor? How important, or what? First of all, what was the tenor, in your opinion, the takeaway from the press conferences on Monday and Tuesday, and pitted against what you think you're going to see on Saturday at 12 EST? Yeah,
I mean, it felt like as the week went on that there was less of the hangover had kind of worn off, because just kind of, listen to Matt Rule, and I know they hadn't really practiced on Monday whenever he came and talked to us, but even after that game, it felt like there was a potential for there to be a little bit more of a soreness to the way that game unfolded and the way that Nebraska played. I mean, I think, when we heard from players on Tuesday, there seemed to be a little bit more resolve of like, we know what was wrong. We believe we can fix it. We're going to fix it. And then you kind of started hearing the same stuff about, well, we're going on the road. We're going, it's just us, the brother stuff, the things that you kind of hear and expect to hear. So I think as the week's gone along, it seems to me that there's a little bit more of they've been able to leave the Illinois loss in the past. And that was just with the way the schedule was. I mean, you lose late on Friday night, you basically have an extra day to stew about it. And I think it just took a little bit longer to shake off. But I mean, I'm expecting to see a team that's a little bit more dialed in and, has generally responded okay whenever they've had those kinds of moments that it seems like they've been kind of dominated in terms of physicality. I mean, in November last year, I didn't really feel like that was the case a lot of times. And, I think this group responded pretty well after Michigan, which was the last time I can remember something like that pretty clearly happening.
Bruntz, do you think and DB's been asking this question all morning, do you think there's a pressure on Purdue or on Nebraska to run the ball particularly well because of all the narratives we've heard about, and they're true, right, about Purdue's rush defense? Like, do you think that adds pressure for Nebraska to prove they can run the football?
I mean, they're going to win how they're going to win. I mean, I think outside
That's a t-shirt.
What's that?
That's a t-shirt.
Yeah.
They're going to win how they're going to win.
Yeah. No, I mean,
no sense in solving pie.
It's tough because Nebraska doesn't want to or isn't going to run the ball the same way that Notre Dame and Oregon State did.
Right.
It's the quarterback run piece is the big kind of differentiator there. And, I think Nebraska will hopefully be able to line up and run the ball at them. I mean, this feels like a game where this game to me feels like an Emmett Johnson game. Like, you need somebody that can make an aggressive defender miss and then take it 40 yards.
I'm with you.
They have not had that yet. And I'm eager to see if Nebraska can do that. I mean, it's going to look different. Is there more of a role for Heinrich Harburg in this game? I don't know, but they're going to have to run the ball. And if they're able to run the ball, it's going to be a heck of a lot easier game than standing back there and chucking it around. But, I would be very surprised if Nebraska approaches the numbers that Oregon State and Notre Dame had against Purdue. I don't know if the running back run game, I don't know if there's enough in there right now to get to those numbers. But I'm eager to see more Emmett Johnson, because I think if you get him in there, get a few chunk plays, it makes it look a lot better.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know if it was on the show or might have been in Nebraska City or something, but I was saying to whomever I was talking to, it's cool as a running back to situationally know when you're going to play, right? Hey, you're the short yardage guys, or you're this guy, or you're that guy. But the dilemma is you have to have some counters off of that because other teams have tape too, right? So
right.
I'll be that cat and mouse matchup. What plays are called when which backs are in is one thing I'm going to be looking at. But the other is there's got to be this temptation that when you're running the ball and you want to run it, you clearly don't have the ball in the hands of your best offensive player making decisions. So
yeah,
you have to be able to be at peace with that too, right? Some of it is just like, I don't know if self-control is the word. It seems kind of weird to use, but you either have to have some patience or self-control, knowing that your best player isn't the one out there throwing it around the yard making decisions.
Yeah, I mean, there's, probably a little bit of discretion in play calling where, you're going to have to just kind of keep going forward with the run game and hope that you're able to break a few of those. I mean, it looks a lot different.
Because you want to run the football over the long haul, right? I mean, that's what you're saying, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're just, I don't know. I mean, I think the easy thing is, well, you just need to keep hammering it in there. But I think a little bit of variety helps too. I mean, we haven't seen a ton of the short passing game yet that I think is also in there that can kind of open things up a little bit. But I don't know. I mean, I think this is a game where, Nebraska, if they're willing to keep going with it, is going to be able to do some things on the ground, especially if they mix and match those running backs.
Bruntz, if you're looking at let's say we're coming home from West Lafayette on Saturday mid-afternoon, and let's say Nebraska has covered the 10 points, but not by much more than that. How do you think you'll feel?
Stop it.
I'm curious because I think a lot of Nebraska fans, if Nebraska wins by 10, they just still don't feel great.
It depends on what it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably a piece of what it looks like. I mean, I think I basically predicted about a 10-point win. Like, I think that's the number I landed on. So, I mean, a win's a win. You feel okay about it, and then you move on to Rutgers. Like, I think that's kind of where I'm at right now. Like, there's a time for style points, and I think this is much more about just kind of getting right, making it look okay. And if it's a 10-point game on and kind of an ugly, 11 a.m. Peacock kick, that's what it takes. So, I mean, print the shirts, they're going to win how they're going to win, I guess. But you kind of, if the defense is able to exert itself and kind of control the game a little bit, I think Nebraska will be fine. But, if there's like a late score that gets it down to 10, that's a heck of a lot different than, what's maybe Nebraska adding a late score. So I think I'd feel okay about it. But there's like Damon's right. I mean, how it looks certainly matters, but a double-digit road win, I think Nebraska would probably take right now.
I think the most beautiful thing about Ravi asking that question is he and Donald Trump are now intertwined uniquely. They both want to bring Johnny Carson back, going with the old Karnak the Magnificent predictions. Hey, Bruntz, well, I mean, it's hard to predict without seeing the game.
I'm just curious. I think there's a
Michael Karnak. Is Bruntz, should we just call you Karnak the Magnificent or no?
I don't think that's his middle name.
It is not. I understand the reference. I don't think I could talk about like one Karnak.
Oh, that's right. You guys are the same age. I'm sorry.
My frame of reference for Karnak is Steve Carell doing it on The Office.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest.
You know who could probably weigh in? I bet BC has like 3 favorite clips, if I had to guess.
He's in the archive like that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Are you guys driving?
Yeah.
Oh, that's gonna be I don't want to do it.
Almost everywhere.
I know. I don't want to do it with you guys, but I would love to see it.
Like, you should bring up some Karnak clips in the car, see what BC's reaction is.
That's a dangerous rabbit hole, and I'm not joking. Like, if you want to hop in the car for one of the Indiana trips next year, Damon, you're welcome to join us. We can do 12 hours to Indianapolis.
So, just give me like a quick snapshot. Like, do you get your snacks and you load up and you make sure everybody has their seatbelt on, and
when you're like, what the stink?
You divvy up the hours, or like, how does it go?
Yeah, I mean, we divvy up. If we're a strong Cheez-It car on road trips.
I like a good Cheez-It. I like a good Cheez-It.
I kind of enjoy that. I have to tell you, my heart got going a little fast whenever I saw a bowl rep from the Cheez-It Bowl at Nebraska a couple weekends ago. I was like, oh, buddy. I wanted to know, because the guy had, the bowl guy, so he's got his suit jacket on and his branded stuff. I was like, I bet that guy's pockets are just loaded with Cheez-Its right now.
You think he just keeps them on him at all times?
Yeah. He's just like standing there in line, just sneaking a Cheez-It.
Just like flips you a Cheez-It like a quarter.
Yeah.
He's like low budget Oprah. You get a Cheez-It. You get a Cheez-It.
Oh man, somebody needs to put on a GoPro or something on those road trips, bro.
I'll say, yeah, get us a little sneak peek in there. Maybe like do some phone recording, see what it's like in there.
Yeah.
That's the content.
I assure you, it's really not that great. It's pretty boring. It's like just a couple of old guys like riding in silence usually.
Oh,
well, it's better than riding with DB. He complains about the music the whole time. So.
Oh, Ravi is the worst.
Bruntz, we'll talk to you later, bud.
See you guys.
See you, Bruntz.